The first year we rescued 27 dogs and we were working out of my kitchen. And now we rescue over 27 every week.
Welcome to the Our Hen House interview. I'm Jasmine Singer.
I'm Mariann Sullivan.
And today is a very special Flock Friday interview. We're so excited to welcome Sherri Franklin, who is the founder and executive director of Muttville Senior Dog Rescue. I'm so excited about this. This is a groundbreaking organization in San Francisco that has saved over, I think, 13,000 senior dogs since 2007. Sherri, is that right? 13,000?
Yes.
Oh my God.
And to even make it more interesting, the first year we rescued 27 dogs and we were working out of my kitchen. And now we rescue over 27 every week.
Oh
So
my
you
God.
can see, well, the need was there, but the way we've managed to grow the interest in senior dogs is just incredible.
Oh my God. All right. Well, I have a lot of questions for you. We have so much to talk to you about, like why senior dogs are so great, the cage-free sheltering, the Muttville's fabulous new facility, and why it's a real model of an animal shelter as a community center, and the role of veganism in animal shelters. So officially welcome to our hen house, Sherri. Thank you so much for being here.
I am thrilled. I'm thrilled to be amongst my people.
Yeah, you are. And this is one of your people. This is June. For those of you watching on YouTube, you can see her. I think she's getting blurred out. There you go. She's one of our 5 dogs, and my wife and I do rescue seniors, and it has brought me so much joy. June is probably about 15, and we got her about a month ago. We also have Pietro, who's 17. And my soulmate, one of my soulmates in this world, was Birdie, who we got at 13, and she lived a very long time.
I love her.
Yeah, I honestly, like, I know that my wife is really nervous that I'm doing this interview because we're
in California, Jasmine.
I know, but
it's not that much of a chance.
It doesn't matter. I will figure it out. And then B, I feel like this is, personally speaking, adopting senior dogs and fostering senior dogs has been one of my great big life loves. And so I just want you to know off the bat, Sherri, I'm just so very grateful to you for dedicating your life to this and for all that you're doing. And so, okay, I think we should dive in, or I'll start, like, I don't know, crying or something.
I think we should.
Yeah, okay, I know.
Dive in.
All right, so let's start at the beginning.
I just want to mention that Lulu, who I adopted 2 years ago, is 16. I don't want to be left out of this conversation.
It's true.
Oh my God, I love you guys so much. And I have to tell you that people think we are all crazy for adopting these old dogs until they do it. And then they come back time and time again to adopt more, because it does fill you up, doesn't it, in a way that nothing else can.
Nothing else. So, I mean, that's the perfect note to start, because I think your beginning is such an inspiring story about how sometimes you just have to get started whether you're ready or not. So how did it all begin for you?
Well, her name was Heidi, and it was her first day and my first day volunteering at the animal shelter about 30 years ago. And I kind of fell in love with Heidi. She was a waggy, funny, beagle, basset girl whose papa had passed away. So she ended up in the shelter. She's about 7. And it was my first day. So I, was, excited. And I kind of felt, you fall in love. But I hadn't thought about adopting at the time because I still had a full-time job, and I just wasn't thinking that way. So I was volunteering, and I fell in love with her. So I started going to the shelter every single day to spend time with her, and she'd wag and get so happy, and we'd go for a walk, and I'd bring her back, and I'd come before work, and I was a hairstylist, so I'd come in my high heels and stockings and everything else just to see her. And I came in one day and I was like, she's not here. And I was so excited that she finally found a home, because other dogs that were younger were flying out the door. And I said to the kennel staff, I said, so I'm so excited. Who adopted Heidi? And they said, no, we said goodbye to her. She was euthanized today.
Oh my
And
God.
wow. So I had no idea. It just didn't occur to me because she was so vibrant and full of life. And it was after the fact. And I was so stunned. And I said, why? And they said, well, you know, she's 7 years old and people want puppies and young dogs and they don't want to take on an older dog. And mind you, you guys, this is like 30 years ago or 27, whatever. I left that day and I cried. And at night, I'd think about her and think, oh, I should have just brought her home, but I didn't know. And I said, I have got to do something about this. And I was, you know, bringing in the dough, doing hair. So I kept thinking about it. And I started taking dogs home one at a time and finding them homes with my hair clients, because it was pre-internet. Please remember, everything was like post-its and big things that you know, staple to walls and pin up at cafes with a picture of a dog saying, adopt me, and pull off my phone number. But anyway, and so I started just doing that. And then I started talking to my friends about it. And then I started reading books about starting a nonprofit. I was very obsessed and I started taking dog training classes and I started going to anything I could about animal welfare. And during that time, I was on the Animal Control and Welfare Commission for the city and county. So we dealt with a lot of animal issues on the side of that. And in fact, we got the senior ailing elephants out of the San Francisco Zoo. That was something we did and got them into PAWS, Performing Animal Welfare Sanctuary, or whatever. I think it's called PAWS. Anyway, we got the elephants over there, and that was one of our big chances. I was the vice chair of that commission. But anyway, I started making inroads and I started learning more and more. And in the meantime, literally, I was finding out that they just don't put senior dogs, older dogs up for adoption because they don't fly out of the shelter like the young ones, and they have limited space on their adoption floor, most shelters. So I decided I'm just going to start this nonprofit, and I don't know where it will take me. And I'm going to start it out of my house because I'm doing it anyway. And the first video we took in 2007 is me feeding like 12 dogs or 15 dogs in my house in San Francisco. And, you know, like I'd have all the bowls out and, you know, like dogs in every room. And volunteers came every day, and I would still go to do hair. And the volunteers would come during the day and take care of all the dogs. And then I'd come home and help feed them. And, you know, I say we, my house, we all lived that way. I had people that like would come over and walk some dogs and take a nap and then walk some more dogs. And it was just crazy. First 5 years, crazy times. And that's why I say the first year, 27 dogs was a lot to do. During that time, it was really exciting, and nobody had a blueprint for us at all. I had friends that stepped up, like my friend, my ex, actually, very good friend. She did all of this marketing, and another friend of mine built a website. And we started on Facebook when it first sort of, you know, started growing, and we grew a Facebook following, which was a huge deal back then. You know, to post your dogs, you really get more interest. And I really don't remember a lot about that time because I was so in it that I didn't have time to create memories of it. I just, you know, it was every day, every day, every day. And I had so many people that were so touched and so moved after I told them that old dogs were being killed in shelters. And people go, really? Like, people did not know that these dogs were in the back room, not being shown or considered unadoptable, and started really speaking out about this. And lo and behold, it just attracted just the most wonderful people that came to help. I mean, I didn't get paid. I didn't pay anybody. Everybody did this as a labor of love for these dogs. And I say Muttville made senior dogs sexy. That's my little thing. As soon as the SPCA in San Francisco, the San Francisco SPCA, had moved to their new space adjacent to their old space, I was friends with them. Of course, they were always happy when Sherri took their dogs, right? So I asked if we could rent their administrative offices that they had just abandoned, and they were empty. And they said yes. And they let us lease this space. It was about 5,000 square feet. And we made our first cage-free animal shelter back then. And really, we all did like the painting. We did everything ourselves, and we were cage-free. We had offices that were kennels and offices all in one. I actually got to hire my first staff to help, and we started our animal shelter.
It's a really great story. And I mean, I'm excited to hear how you started, but you've become so much bigger that we still have really a lot to talk about. But I think one thing I want to sort out is, like you mentioned, Heidi was 7. So when you're talking about senior dogs, they're not that old, not necessarily.
Right.
Some of them probably are very old.
They asked me when I was writing all the bylaws and everything else, I came up with 7 as our lowest age that we would take, because that's what I was seeing volunteering in the shelters for all that time, is sort of like at the time anyway. And I think there's a lot more people that understand that's not very old, but for big dogs, it is. For big dogs,
That's true.
It just,
That's true.
as they get, but we've got 18 and 19-year-old dogs and adopted them out. So it runs the whole gamut. In fact, we get shelter dogs that they say are 7, and they come in with a fake ID and they're really 3 or 4. And that's because I think the shelters want their dogs to go to Muttville. So they go, oh yeah, he's 7.
Yeah.
And then he comes and he's like bouncing off walls. I'm like, this dog still has baby teeth.
You can't really blame them though, can you?
No.
Yeah, they're caught in a difficult position. So how do senior dogs end up homeless? I mean, most of us think, oh my God, I would never give up my dog. And these presumably are dogs who have been in a family for a while. I mean, most of them probably weren't on the streets for all that time. They were somewhere. Did people just give up on them? Is a lot of the problem financial? What are the issues?
It's all of the above. So I have learned not to judge at all when we get a request to take somebody's dog. A woman with brain cancer, for instance, that has a mother with dementia, and they have 2 dogs, and they really can't care for them. I mean, literally, the stories are astounding.
Yeah.
On a percentage, not everybody. We also get dogs that probably have never been to a veterinarian in their life, that come with dreadlocks and their back legs stuck together with mats. And we get the worst, just in terrible shaped dogs. And we get truly loved people's companion animal that has been truly loved. So we run the gamut of all everything in between. So we get dogs that have come from loving homes where the people can't afford the veterinary care. And at times we've even fixed up the dog and asked, do you want the dog back? And some of them say, I don't want him anymore, whatever. I still just refuse to judge, because it's too hard to reach into everybody's world to know what's going on with them,
Of course, and some of it's probably very private.
Right. You don't want to.
And what a blessing that you're doing for these people, the ones who do love their animals. And the only other recourse they would have is to kill their beloved animal right at the moment when their life is falling apart in some way.
Yes. We also get a tremendous amount of dogs coming from seniors that are going into nursing
Of course, yeah.
facilities.
That's how I got my dog Lulu, who I
Yeah.
mentioned was 14 when I got her.
Yeah, so we get a lot of seniors that
Yeah.
need to turn in their dogs that they truly love, and we try to accommodate those too.
It's honestly, it's generous. I mean, I feel like it's a very generous perspective, and it's one that I need to hold on to like not be so judgmental, because I don't know, it's just kind of my knee-jerk reaction when people
Exactly.
give up their animals. And I know that there are scenarios where they really can't, they don't want to at all. And sometimes it probably is the most loving thing that they can do, but it is really, really hard to wrap your head around that. I mean,
It
but my
truly
guess,
is.
yeah, my guess is, like, with all the horror that you see, the fact that you can maintain this kind of optimism and kindness is probably what keeps you going to some extent.
I think it took a while, and I think we have about 30 staff, and it is something that almost every person when they first start comes with that feeling, like you said, that they're like, how could anybody give up their dog? And I hear that all the time from just friends or people that I tell what I do. And I said, you don't know. And we are very kind to people that bring their dogs to Muttville. And we do it by appointment. So, we don't just have people drop them off at Muttville, but we do it by appointment only, because we work with the animal shelters. 70% of our dogs are straight from the animal shelters, and then 30% are guardian surrenders.
Do you work with animal shelters in, shall we say, less prosperous areas? Because I mean, that is, people might be thinking, oh, well, if you're going into a nursing home, that's forgivable. But, just because you don't want to pay for vet care. But for, as we've all established beyond any doubt, and we live in a very rich country that has really a lot of very poor people who
Yes,
just really can't afford it. And
they
so
can't.
are you able to go to those shelters as well?
We mostly
That's
work
great.
with Oakland Animal Services. The whole Central Valley is a nightmare of euthanasias and shelters that can't even fit one more dog in the door.
Yeah.
Black puppy mills, backyard breeders, and the first thing is somebody gets a puppy, they give up their old dog. I mean, I'm not going to judge, but we don't always know where those dogs, what their history is. Sometimes we will, and we try and write about to let anybody that's an adopter know this dog was truly loved, the person passed away, blah blah blah, or this dog came from a backyard and had foxtails everywhere in his body. But we do try and let them know that if we know a history. We work mostly, I mean, San Francisco, we're there every day, and we help out, of course, our city. Right now, even San Francisco, the city of San Francisco is way overcrowded, and I haven't seen it like this in 25 years. I have not seen our city, which is usually not, I mean, we take all their senior dogs. We just take all their senior dogs. But now we're getting requests and we have to put them on a wait list. I mean, I have not seen this kind of across the nation, the amount of euthanasias that are happening. And I haven't seen that in a long, long time. All the way up to COVID and into COVID when everybody had to have a dog, all the way up to there, we were on an upswing and euthanasias were very rare. Not always harder in, like you said, underserved areas, but today we're hearing numbers that are scary, and euthanasia rates are starting to climb again. I'm talking across the nation, and adoption rates are going down in the shelter. So that's why it's really important to adopt your dog. Don't buy your dog. You don't even know who you're supporting or what you're supporting. So please adopt, whether it be a puppy or whatever. You can find any breed you want. Do not need to buy a dog.
What, Sherri, why is this? I mean, is it because of how unsettled the political situation is? Because
Well,
the
it's
economy, I
unsettled.
expect the economy to suffer, but it hasn't really like hit yet. It's probably going to get worse.
Yeah, it's
And
probably
of
going to get
course,
worse.
immigrants, people who are being threatened or deported, they have dogs.
We're getting dogs from people that feel like they have to be on the move.
Yeah.
So we're getting those animals. A lot of housing situations, like, oh, my grandmother's moving in with us. She can't afford to so her dog doesn't get along with our dog, so we have to give up our dog or her dog. People that have lost their housing and can only find housing if they don't have a dog. And that's really unfortunate. That is, something that I'm hoping to see change is that housing situation.
Yeah, we actually we interviewed the folks from My Dog Is My Home, and they're doing amazing work with so many aspects of advocating for people experiencing houselessness and for making the shelters animal friendly and things like that. And it's actually not often that we delve into the dog and cat issue, but the sort of vegan anchor there is something of great interest to us, which we'll get into. But I just want to tell you my idea for when I win the lottery.
Please.
After like the whole like getting a personal trainer to come to my house and force me to exercise. After all that, that
is the first thing on your list.
No, it's not the
what
first.
What is wrong with you?
All right, I'm kidding. No, just listen to me. Well, I lived in Los Angeles, and that's where we got some of our old Chihuahuas because, you can't like trip without landing on an old Chihuahua in Los Angeles. And they were incontinent frequently in terms of like pee. And so within the first night, right? Like within the first night of having our first old Chihuahua, we learned what a male wrap was. A diaper.
Thank God.
We got
those
one.
weren't around. Those weren't around 30 years ago. We used to make our own. They didn't sell them. We had to make them out of fabric with Velcro.
Well, I love that. And so we like traveled all around LA looking for the male wraps, and then we got one, and then and we put like a maxi pad in it, and it was like fine. So and then we wound up with like another dog in the same scenario. So here's my plan. When I win the lottery, I'm going to just basically hand out the diapers, mostly for the boy dogs, but also for the girl dogs. I've definitely had girl dogs with the diapers. And I want to start an education campaign also in Southern California, specifically around this is going to basically solve your problem. Like for so many people who aren't educated about this. I don't know.
It's such a great idea. And
Thank you.
I can tell you that we do an education class on how to care for your senior dogs. And I always bring up diapers, and I call them bad boy bands. Right, bad boy bands, but
oh, that's really fun. All right, it took me a minute. Okay. Admittedly, it took me a minute, but it's very fun.
Good one.
But the thing is, and that's been wonderful. Like we get like 75 people that'll show up for, and I talk about strollers and pads for dogs so that their feet don't slip. And there's just a lot of little things that we've learned through the years at Muttville and through all the old dogs we care for. I had an email, this was years ago, but I sent a woman, she wanted to give up her dog. And she said, he just pees everywhere. And I told her about belly band. I sent her some, she came to Muttville and I gave her some. And she wrote me back about 3 months later, and she goes, literally, you saved my dog's life because I was going to give him up.
Absolutely.
And I did not know that you could do that. So your idea is rock solid.
Oh, I love it. Thank you. I mean, I maybe I don't need to win the lottery to do. Maybe I just need to get some funders for it or something. But
You just could go viral on a YouTube video.
okay, I'll just do that. I'll just go viral. But like, it was actually funny. When we had George, our little darling George, who we got at the Downey shelter. It's a rough, kind of rough.
Yeah, it's rough.
Area. Yeah. And this just cutest little chihuahua. That night, he had the one nightmare that he had the whole 5 years that we had him. He lived to be 17. And he was sleeping in the bed with us. And when he had the nightmare, he started like going side to side, and the pee was like, it was like a sprinkler system of pee going like all over the bedroom. And we're like, okay, we have to figure this out. Anyway, so that was the only nightmare he had and the only accident he had. It's also like, honestly, it's great to have dogs in diapers. Like, it makes one's life a lot easier. Not that you should then leave them for hours on end, but if they have an accident, as many old dogs do, you're good.
Yeah. And we have them in all sizes, like we see our big dogs.
Yeah. Totally. Our small poodle, Murray, he gets really excited when he sees people. So he pees. I mean, we all do, right? A little bit. Sorry, I'm just middle-aged. And okay. But he has like we use the bladder pads, not the maxi pads for him, because he's a little bigger.
I just say don't use maxi pads, use poise pads.
Oh, okay.
They work with urine much better than anything else. Is the incontinence pads for adults.
That's what we use for Murray.
Yeah, those are the best. Even if you cut them in half, whatever, they will hold urine much better than a maxi pad will.
We cut them in half for the girl diapers. Yeah.
So just letting you know.
This conversation.
Actually, I know.
Spiraling.
I honestly,
but
I think it's really important to discuss.
To the new shelter yet.
All right, go
Jasmin.
for it. Go for it, Mariann.
Woman is here to talk about her organization.
All right, go ahead, Mariann.
All right, I have been online because I had an opportunity, and it is unbelievable. I mean, tell us about, just describe it for people, because what you have there is really absolutely
Nothing
gorgeous.
like it.
And and just tell us about it, but also where it is and how you pulled this off.
It was a labor of true love that lasted 5 years in the making. We bought the property like a whisper before COVID, in the center of the Mission District in San Francisco, on a beautiful, beautiful street filled with restaurants and another art nonprofit and bars. And it's just a lovely area. We'd been looking for about 5 years for a space that we liked. And the minute we saw this, we bought it. It was so perfect. It was 3 warehouse buildings with an outdoor courtyard in the middle. And you don't find that in San Francisco, the outdoor area. So that was like a big selling point for us. And my vision was to make something that most animal shelters, if you go in them, you want to die because they're depressing and loud, lots of barking, or dogs scared in a corner somewhere. But you go there to adopt a dog, and people have left crying or not wanting to go back. And then they end up buying a dog somewhere else because they can't deal with going in. So I wanted to turn that on its end and make this shelter into something that would be human friendly as well as dog friendly, so that when you walk in, you want to stay, you want to meet the dogs, and maybe you want to fall in love and adopt. And so the vision was to create, cage-free. We do beautiful artwork everywhere, colorful sofas where people can sit, dog beds where people can sit with a dog. And we have different areas, big dogs, small dogs area. And then we have group area where we just open all the doors depending on who we have. Our largest space is this beautiful adoption floor. So we're open every day now. We get about 40 visitors every day walking in. Some plan to come, some just walk by, look in the window, and go, wow, what is that? So we have beautiful artwork done by local artists all over. and we have these colorful rooms. We have the Painted Ladies of San Francisco, which is our offices. And we have dogs in the offices that might be a little shy or might be a little picky with other dogs. So they have space to go to as well. Or an escape artist that is just so out of control that every time you try and go through a gate, he's through it. So they all have their own space. And we have 600 volunteers. People want to come to Muttville. They want to come. They want to stay. We have people that come every week with their kids. We have a senior groups called Cuddle Clubs that come, and we have a beautiful community space where we can do all the education that we had planned to do. In our old space, there was not that. We've been able to like spread our wings and do so much more community work and become a model of what animal sheltering can be. Make it people friendly. People want to come, people want to adopt. And while I said adoption rates are falling all over the nation, ours are going up. We adopt out 30 dogs, approximately 30 dogs a week, and bring in 30 dogs a week. And
Wow.
that's 13% above what we were doing just last year because we moved
Wow.
into our new space.
You just mentioned the Cuddle Club, and I want to know more. What is that?
Well, it is, we started doing them at our old space, and it is for senior citizens. A lot of them are isolated, lonely. You hear about, the epidemic of loneliness in senior humans. And I always wanted to do a group of seniors for seniors programming anyway. So we started doing them like one a month. Now we're doing sometimes 2 every week. We have it open to the public certain times, and then we have senior groups that come in that bring their whole senior, whatever their organization is. They sign up, they bring a bus, they all come in, they all sit around, and we bring all the dogs up, and everybody's laughing, and
Oh my
people
God.
walk in. Listen, people come in and they're like grumpy old men, and you put a dog in their lap, and it's like, woohoo, you're crazy. And
so
so
cute.
we have them, sitting on laps, and now they've really created a community. And even during COVID, we did virtual cuddle clubs on Zoom, and we taught seniors how to use iPads. And so we still carried that on even now. So we have people even on the East Coast that join our cuddle club, where we do it in-house, but we show, the dogs as they arrive.
Listen,
So
I'm a lesbian. Cuddle Club is like my ideal relationship. I'm just saying.
that's how you'll meet your next partner when you're like 75, whatever. But it's really been a great way to bring community in. We're working with the Dolby Brain Center, working with their Alzheimer's patients and their dementia patients and the caregivers. They all come in, and we go to memory care facilities. So we're trying to really bring a lot more joy into the lives of people that, don't have that outlet, and maybe you're too old to really care for an animal anymore, or can't have
Exactly.
one,
Yeah.
or can't have one, So that's just grown in the year we've moved into our new space. It's grown exponentially, and we're getting a lot more interest in doing more of that. So
I love that. I mean, especially since you mentioned that you get your animals often from because people have to go into nursing homes.
yeah,
And these are people who love animals, but they just
right,
really can't, they're not up to caring for them anymore, but they can
right.
still, and I'm sure the animals love it too. They don't
Oh,
care.
they love it. It's a win-win. Absolutely. Anybody that's going to cuddle with these dogs is, they love the dogs
Yeah.
love it. People love it.
You work with
Um,
children too, right?
yes, we do. There is no humane education in San Francisco, which is so surprising to me.
Yeah.
So we started a program for children. We go to their schools and we work with the Boys and Girls Club. And we have children come and visit, and they volunteer. And what I've seen is, where we are in our community in the Mission District, there's a lot of children that have never had a positive experience with an animal or a dog. and they walk in and they're like this, and they don't just walk into the shelter where all the dogs are. We take them, there's a special room. We talk to them about what dogs are like and how to approach them and the responsibility of having a dog and everything like that. Then we bring 1 or 2 dogs in that we know are just bomb-proof with children. We teach them how to approach. We teach them how to pet. We do this 2-finger thing where, you pet the dog on the back and and then we bring in a whole bunch more dogs. And these kids don't want to leave. They're like, no, I want to stay here. And then they bring their whole family in on the weekend. It's
Mhm.
been so eye-opening to me to see how they just eat it up. I feel like it's teaching them kindness and compassion and getting them started thinking about animals. I haven't had meat since I was 18 years old, and I'm going to be 70. So, I was a huge dog lover. That was my very first sort of entryway into animals. So way before there was anybody, I couldn't eat meat. And I felt like, it's eye-opening to have an animal in my arms and realize that I could not eat an animal after that. So as a gateway to compassion, I think dogs have a lot to share around that with children, especially.
Yeah. And I was just thinking about New Roots Institute and how they do a lot of humane education in the Bay Area and everywhere, but specifically around farmed animals. It's
Yeah.
interesting to me to hear that about dogs and cats, that's not really happening otherwise. I also want to say you look so young. I never would have guessed that
You
you
look
were
great.
going to be
It's
70.
my veganism, right?
Well, let's talk about that for just a moment because, like, I'm nodding, Marianne's nodding, like, our flock members are nodding, people listening to this, I'm just guessing, are nodding. Like, of course you drew that connection, but yet it's very unusual still for us to come
Yes,
across
it is.
people in the dog and cow world who make that connection. So I don't know. I'm totally putting you on the spot here, but why? Like, why do you think we're making the connection and other people aren't?
I really can't. I wish I could answer that.
I do
I
too.
really wish I could because I have staff members that still eat meat, and I'm just shocked. And I can say that many of them are vegan. I'm not saying, but there are still those that,
Sure.
will cry
Yeah.
over a dog, but yet will have a hamburger or whatever. I try to educate as much as I can. We were, I think, one of the first back in 2007 to put in our bylaws that we would not ever have an event or spend any money on that we would support anything that served meat. So we put the vegetarians, I couldn't go all the way vegan with everybody on my board at the time, but we were one of the first that said no meat. And, you know, we aren't going to do meat at any of our events. And so we put that in our bylaws. Our events are vegan now,
Mm-hmm.
and we have huge galas. And I think it's the best opportunity in the world to have 250, 300 people at an event and serve really tasty vegan food that they don't even think about it. And then I get up on stage and I'm like, yeah, wasn't that food so good? And everybody's clapping. I'm like, yeah, it's vegan. So
Yeah.
I think it's a great way to advocate. And I think, Jasmine, as you said, it's really tough. I don't understand why people don't immediately draw that, but unfortunately, there's people that don't, even as much as I'll say something. And everybody
Yeah.
knows I'm vegan at work. So,
That's awesome.
We kind of got off talking about the shelter itself, but there was
oh,
something I
sorry.
really wanted to revisit, and that's the cage-free policy. And
Yes.
I mean, that is so powerful, and for people to be able to meet dogs out of the cages. But I am wondering, like, I'm a lawyer, so I'm
Of
immediately
course.
thinking, all right, so how do you pull that off? How
Yes.
do you pull it off? Like you must have a lot of
We have a lot of
safeguards.
insurance.
Yeah.
No. We have many safeguards, of course. Well, number one, the dogs that we have, because we have the opportunity to get any dogs we want, we get thousands of requests. is that we really try to not take a dog that has a bite history. I know that's really sad, but at the same time, that dog may take up the space of 20 dogs that will be able to find a home for. Even the 19-year-old dog will take with a health issue. So we do try and select for sociability. We'll take shy dogs, but really to try and focus on dogs that can be with the public. That being said, we stay committed to the dogs that we do get. And they're animals. And like any animal, things can happen. And dogs that you think are just as friendly as pie can, if a kid comes in and pulls the tail, all bets are off, right? So we do have sort of an educational aspect of when they don't just walk in the door and dogs just come at you. We have a white picket fence kind of situation where people first come in, we talk to them about how they approach the dog. We only have dogs that are really open in our open adoption floor that are easier to approach or easy to approach. We do have, like I said, the offices and the painted ladies have those dogs that are more sensitive, that can't, just can't. And then we also we've done a lot of things. We've learned a lot. I mean, we've been doing this now for like 15 years where we've been cage free. So we've learned a lot. We have little yellow caution ribbons on dogs that are blind, saying, I'm blind, go slow. Things like that, so that, a blind dog, if you go too fast at a blind dog, it scares them. So we do have some safeguards in that aspect, and we never allow children to come in without a parent. And we have, I don't want to say a hall monitor, more of a room monitor who is always there in the room. It's usually a volunteer that can understand dogs and sort of the body language of dogs.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't want to jinx it by saying anything like we haven't had any, we do have a lot of insurance, of course, and workers' comp and that sort of thing. And to tell you the truth, the only people that seem to get bit are staff. And that is because we have to do the ear meds, the eye meds, the
Of course.
toenail clipping. And those are the times that seem to be, and we have a full vet clinic. I don't know if that's mentioned anywhere, but we have full-time vet staff. We do surgeries in-house. We do everything in-house. So,
Wow.
And during all of those times, we are assessing behavior while doing that.
It sounds like your ability to, I mean, I just remember
Yeah.
old days, which is when I was kind of more involved with dog stuff. And like temperament testing was so primitive compared to what people know and understand now. And in some places, they hardly even do it.
They don't have time, and they don't have, a lot of these places are running on a shoestring, have no adoptions, literally do not market any kind of adoption. So
Yeah.
these dogs really, so what we ask for is a quick video. And, like someplace like Newman is an animal shelter that literally doesn't adopt out any animals. And we have them, and they just videotape 4 or 5 dogs, and we'll say, we'll take them all, or can you do a dog to dog with this one video? So we do manage to do it that way. And like I said, we do try and stay committed once the dog arrives, like moving them into a foster home. We still have like 50 dogs in foster at any given time. So we have foster homes that are better at dealing with small dogs or blind dogs. We have somebody that just likes to foster blind dogs. We have people that have too many stairs for big dogs, or we have people that have totally flat homes that like to take big dogs home. So we have families that are really good with shy dogs, and they'll take the shy dogs home and work with them. So we do have people that sort of work with an animal to get them ready for their new home.
I think I saw on the website that you have an area called hospice. Is that for dogs who,
Yes.
like, you find out that they have health problems that you really can't adopt them out?
So we have our hospice adoption program. And I have to tell you that I'm a big hospice mommy myself. I really It feeds me to be able to do this for dogs. And sometimes our hospice dogs get adopted more quickly than our
Wow.
regular dogs because people start to realize that it is for them. It's not for everybody. It isn't, but it's definitely for some people. We believe that when a dog is suffering, the gift of euthanasia is fabulous and extraordinary, and we should all give that gift when an animal is suffering. But we also have dogs that have terminal illnesses
Yeah.
or extreme kidney disease or liver disease, but they don't know it. They're happy. And those are the ones that go into our hospice adoption program. And what we do is we cover palliative care for those animals that get adopted. So if you take a hospice dog home and he's got really bad diarrhea or is having severe pain, you can go to your vet and we will cover the cost of the palliative care for that animal to, make sure that he has a good quality of life. And then we cover the euthanasia of that dog. And
Mm.
we tell people,
That's great. That's
we
a
tell
great
people you're
program.
gonna have to be courageous and you are
Yeah.
gonna have to make that decision for your animal so he doesn't suffer or she doesn't
Yeah.
suffer. And you'd be surprised. I have families with children even that do this, and they have said it's been a great gift to their family and to their children to look at death in a different way. So
Yeah.
Wow.
it's not for
Yeah.
What
everybody.
about vet costs in general? I mean, is that one of the obstacles for people thinking about adopting an older dog? Because if it isn't, it sure should be, because it is a financial undertaking to
It
adopt an
is.
older animal.
It is truly the only obstacle that I know of. I believe there are some times you just are going to have to spend more money, but I also believe that veterinarians need to meet people where they are. And we work with veterinarians as well on some education around, you know what? Give somebody the opportunity, like, yeah, he might have something, something, something. And oh, that's going to be an MRI that you're going to need to figure that out. But guess what? You know what? Why don't we just start him on some gabapentin and blah, 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 and make
Yeah.
him comfortable and you go home with him and, that sort of thing. I don't always think that throwing money at a senior dog for all these tests and putting them through a lot of stressful moments is going to make them live any longer. And it's just going to end up costing you so much money. So I think there's a balance and people are
Yeah.
afraid to ask. People are afraid to say, I can't afford it because then they feel like guilty for not being able to afford whatever on their dog and they'll
Absolutely.
rather go bankrupt. But you know what? Don't feel guilty. You can't break the bank. And if your veterinarian can be a little bit more compassionate with you and not guilt trip you into spending money you don't have and offer another option. And I think
Yeah.
people and veterinarians need to hear that.
Are
They
I
there
just
hear
do.
any?
you. Like, veterinarians really need to hear that. I mean, some of them are great. I mean,
Oh, mine
I've had
is.
both
Yeah.
experiences, and some of them are, it's just like, I just think they're not thinking about it. It's just like a science experiment. Well, we might be able to do this, and
And it's going to cost you $10,000. I don't know. In
yeah,
San
but we might
Francisco, it's
get 6
easy.
months out of it, and like, yeah, it's a very difficult situation. Because
Really is.
as vet care becomes better and better, they can do more and more,
Right.
and you have to take. Otherwise, nobody's going to take your animals if they have to spend
Yes.
$20,000.
Well, are
I'm
Absolutely.
there?
sorry, Jasmine, I interrupted you.
No, I'm just, I said to my wife before, like I was telling her about you and this interview, and I said, can you think of anything that I might not think about to ask? And she was like, well, on this subject, we can afford it. We don't have human children and we're older, we're not older, but we're in our 40s and
Yeah.
50s. And
That's pretty old.
it's pretty old. But I guess my
Not old
question
enough.
But are there any foundations or anything? Because I think a lot of people would want to take home older animals. And obviously with like younger animals, you might still have like a horrible vet bill. We had a cat, one of our
Right.
cats ate a bunch of yarn one day, and that was a very expensive week for us. So like
Yeah.
you never know. But are there any foundations or anything?
Well, aside, I just have a question that's related to that. Also, what is it that you do before you get an animal ready for adoption? Obviously, you can't put them in perfect health, but do you at least
Yeah.
try to identify anything that might be identifiable as wrong?
That's a really
And
good question.
I did notice
Yeah.
that in watching one of the videos that your vet had this enormous container of teeth.
Mhm. Like this.
You pull a lot of teeth, huh?
We do. So that's such a good question. I think one of the reasons we're really successful is because we're transparent. We have a full-time vet staff and a very well-equipped vet clinic due to one of our donors that paid for our wish list of everything in our vet clinic, and she wrote a check. So that was an amazing gift. So when a dog comes in to Muttville, they get a full blood panel, they get a nose to tail physical checkup, ears, anal glands, lumps, bumps, teeth, and we decide what they need from there. Some dogs don't need anything. Some dogs need tumor removals. We've had dogs with terrible, huge bladder stones. We had a dog that had bladder stones like the size of apricots, and it was a Chihuahua
Oh God.
that filled the bladder. And she was, every time she'd squat, and she'd squat all the time, just blood would come out. So she had
Ugh.
emergency surgery at our shelter and removed 3 huge stones. So we do that, or we do blood work so we can tell an adopter this dog needs a special kidney diet for the rest of his life, or we fix up the ears with ear infection medication. We remove a lot of eyeballs as well. We have a lot of dogs that come in with untreated eye situations that have never been treated, and it's too far gone to even repair.
Tell me you
So
don't have a jar of eyeballs, please.
we don't. We do
Thank
not. I
God.
didn't let that. But the
Okay.
teeth, that thing that you saw, that was only like 4 months worth of teeth. The
A lot of
amount
teeth.
of teeth, and we have a specialist who just specializes in dentals, and he works with broken jaws. He works removing sometimes every tooth in the mouth, every tooth coming out. Just some of them just come out. I've
Yeah.
had teeth on my pillow. I turn around, I'm like, what is that? It's a freaking tooth from one of the dogs I don't know. They just come out. So the mouths are very important. And I have seen dogs age backwards after they
Same.
get their mouths taken care of. So we do all that. But I guess why I'm saying we do all of that, we can't cure everything. We don't do an MRI. Yes, there might be something going on that we don't know about. But what we can do is give adopters a general picture of health, a general picture of age. If a dog is blind, some of the basic things. Oh, this dog has really bad arthritis, or some of the things that we notice. And so that helps our adopters, and that helps our adoptions. And the other thing is that our foster families also educate the new adopter. Like every foster family is totally involved in the adoption of the dog that they foster, which is not true at every organization. Some organizations take the dog back and don't allow the foster family to be involved at all. And I was a foster mom. That's how I learned, and it's like, you want to be involved. You love your freaking foster dog, right? Don't you love them? Don't you care where they go? Yes. So,
course.
we totally involve the foster family in the program. They write the notes about the dog. Like, he likes my cat. He has to sleep on the bed. He won't sleep anywhere but on their bed. So you got to be that person that allows the dog on the bed. We want everybody to do that. But, some people don't have their dog on their bed, so they shouldn't adopt that particular dog. this dog needs more house training. This dog's perfectly house trained. This dog likes really long walks and likes to go on hikes. This dog is a couch potato, whatever. So the foster family can really help choose the right home.
Yeah, I mean, I love that. It's so important that because the foster is going to know the dog better. A lot of times, dogs, their personality isn't going to come out in the shelters if they're in the shelters first, and just the foster is such an important piece of the pie. So, as we start to wrap up, what are your plans for spreading the model that you've created?
Well, we're already doing it, sort of word of mouth right now, because we've moved in only last September, so about a year ago. We're doing it out with 2 organizations right now. One is called Unconditional in Laguna Beach. They sent up their new shelter manager, spent 4 or 5 days working with our teams, everything from adoptions. I mean, we have a manual, we have the processes in place, we have the procedures ready to go. And then my next step is going to be to really talk about having that cage-free animal shelter, and also understanding that not every dog is going to be perfect for that. That's why we have rooms, but we don't have kennels. We want to keep the dogs very social. And everything from the flooring, which is acoustic flooring and easy to clean, and the acoustic tiles on the ceiling, and the perfect HVAC, and all of those things that we have learned to do, and the security around how people walk in and walk out. And we've learned all that by building it and doing it, so we can answer all the questions. And I think through word of mouth, we're getting a lot more attention, like other shelters are coming in to visit us. So we have a lot to teach, and through our successes and some of the mistakes we made too, like really talking about some of the things that didn't work. And, because when you're doing this, there is, like I said earlier, there was no blueprint. And now we can create that blueprint, and we're working on that now. So the idea is to speak more. We've done some speaking at HSUS, which is a conference for they changed their name and I can't remember, the Humane Society of the United States. So we've done
Yeah,
some
Animal World or something.
Humane World for
Humane World
Animals.
for Animals.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
I think.
Yeah, it sounds right. We're planning that. We're also doing educational stuff for veterinarians. So we're doing classes. We hope to do more. I think the main thing was to first get really settled into our new facility. And it's taken a year. There's, working out the kinks. We have neighbors. We have a condo building next door. They've learned to love us so much, but they were so nervous, and so talking to them and creating positive relationships with your neighbors is so important for an animal shelter, wherever you are. Our neighbors now, when they have friends in town, they all come down. Oh, you got to come see Muttville, our next door neighbors, because we did make sure that we did acoustic work on everything. And we did make sure that we involved them from early on. And you don't really always think of that. You aren't really thinking of all those things. And I think those are the things that make Muttville very successful, is having those relationships and having those ambassadors to us.
Totally.
Yeah.
And for people listening or watching, how can they support your efforts and learn more about your work?
Yeah. So go to muttville.org, number one. You will see the cutest dogs ever for adoption. We don't encourage people to adopt from us if they don't live near us, but we encourage them to go to their local shelters. Saying that, there are people that have literally flown in from everywhere, and I'm talking Europe and Alaska and Canada, and driven down from Oregon to adopt a Muttville dog. And a lot of those places just don't have small old dogs. So they go, I want a small old dog. And 70% of our dogs are under 25 pounds.
Yeah, my dogs told me not to ask this question, but I'm going to anyway since they're in the backyard with more. Is it like, are we just focused on small dogs, or like, what about the big
Oh,
dogs, and what's the
yeah.
mentality behind that?
Thank you. We love our big dogs. We absolutely love our big dogs. We get a lot of pit bulls and shepherd mixes, especially we get a lot of really wonderful pit bulls that are gentle and friendly with all dogs and just are the best. They get adopted less quickly. And a lot of that is because in the Bay Area, there's a lot of homes with a lot of stairs. And then we also have the awful landlord issues around adopting huskies, shepherds, and pit bulls, which just sucks. As far as I'm concerned, I just hate it so much. So we have about 30, like I said, 30% of our dogs will be larger. We also get a lot of Aussies and, Australian Shepherd mixes. I have a dog that I call a catoodle that I adopted. She is a cattle dog poodle mix, which I'm absolutely enamored of. So, we try to keep a variety of dogs, but frankly, a lot of the senior citizens that can't keep their dogs have small dogs, and
Mhm.
we work a lot with them. So, and we also, 50% of our adopters are senior citizens, and they want small dogs. So they come and go more quickly.
I just have a quick question, and then I would love for you to just reiterate your website and your social.
Sure.
But I'm just curious for the people who fly in to get dogs. I know that a lot of times the small little ones, especially the small chihuahuas, especially the old small chihuahuas, have heart issues and can't
Mhm.
fly. My 17-year-old has zero heart problems. He's like a unicorn. But so how do you, I mean, there are dogs who I'm sure you
Yeah,
would say, no, I'm sorry,
of
you can't
course.
fly with them.
Absolutely. And our veterinarian is amazing at, you know, sorting all that out. And some
Hmm.
dogs should not or cannot. Oh, hi, kitty cat.
He's not interested in this interview. He just wants you to know that.
But and then I have literally people that drive down. This woman in Oregon has come and adopted 2 of our Aussie mixes in the past 6 months. We've driven dogs. Our transport volunteer team has driven dogs to Santa Fe, New Mexico, to a friend who has adopted 7 different large dogs from Muttville. And every time she wants a new dog, she looks at Muttville, and we drive dogs out to her, and the same person does it and spends like a couple days with her and leaves a dog there. So we do have some people that will drive across the country, but mostly when they are getting a dog from far away, it's always a small dog. And it's a dog that doesn't have like a collapsing trachea or, a bad heart issue.
Got it. Yeah, that makes
Yeah.
sense. That makes sense. Uh, yeah. All right. Well, we're gonna need to close, but stick with us for a little bonus segment for our flock members. Thank you so much. Tell us your website and your socials so that our listeners
Okay.
could follow you.
Muttville SF on Insta, and on Facebook, just look up Muttville Senior Dog Rescue, I believe. And
Okay.
muttville.org is our website.
Wonderful. Sherri, thank you
And
so much for doing this work and
Thank
for
you,
just like
Sherri.
drawing the connections and for being like a fierce, badass, young
I
looking
am
vegan.
I am a badass vegan. And
Yes.
most of my friends have either farm animal sanctuaries all over. Check out Charlie's Acres because they also have a wonderful humane ed program.
Amazing. Well,
Yeah.
thank you so much for joining us. For those of you joining us too, thank you for joining us. Don't forget to leave a comment on YouTube or a review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you're listening or watching this, including liking this episode on YouTube. And we'll talk to you next time.